Hello, everybody, and welcome to the comic book Burrito Into the Spider-Verse. My name's Darien.
My name's Landon.
And today, we've been transported back to the MCU universe to witness the conclusion to this multiversal journey that we've been embarking on. Today, we review Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes.
Finally.
Finally. Yeah. What took us so long, Darren?
Well, when I was on my way, falling down into this universe, it took me 2 weeks. I got COVID on the way down, and so that was fun. And finally, I landed, and we witnessed the conclusion to the story today. How long have you been in this universe?
Too long. Too long. I have no one to talk to you about this movie.
Oh, well, here I am, and here we go.
Yeah.
Expectations going into this film.
I don't think I've had higher expectations for a film in my life. Like, my expectations for this movie were way higher than Endgame's.
Really?
Just because I'd say no. Again, we've said this before. No other movie is like this.
No.
You know, like, it's like having a 007 movie and all the James Bonds.
Did you just compare Spider-Man No Way Home to James Bond?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, that's what it's kind of like, though, you know. And I mean, it delivers.
This movie,
it delivers, man.
Delivers. My expectations going in. I mean, obviously they were very high. I was coming off of COVID, so I just saw it when we were recording this today. Like, I saw it, and I was very excited. Knowing the rumors. By the way, spoilers for this movie. This is a spoiler review. I'm not holding anything back.
You can't talk about this movie without spoilers. I
gotta mention. I mean, obviously, I knew the rumors with the possibly Charlie Cox being in it. That was a smaller rumor.
Yeah,
but like with Toby and Andrew showing up, and there were like other little rumors like, oh, Miles is going to show up or something like that. Gwyneth, Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone, but that didn't happen.
Mysterio's supposed to show up in the end or something.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if I'm being honest, like, I loved the ending of this movie, but if that did happen, I still would have loved it.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted two things to happen, and they did. So
yeah, okay.
I'm happy.
But let's get into this movie. I'm going to talk about just everything. This is going to be a pretty long review. I mean, we start off the movie picking up from where Far From Home left off.
Yeah.
With Peter Parker being revealed as Spider-Man, and the chaos that ensues after that. I want to point out the guy that dived off of the car to get Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Shout out to that guy. We gotta get him on the show sometime. Ask him.
He was committed.
I mean, honestly, I did the same. I did the same.
The whole world thinks that Peter Parker murdered Mysterio, which they don't really focus on too much in this movie.
Yeah, I'd say it's like good 20 minutes. That's all right.
Yeah.
First half is a bit sluggish, though. I will say that. The
beginning felt very fast-paced.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, they kind of know what you're there for. Yeah. You want to see the villain. You know, you want to see the Doctor Strange fight. You want to see the villains. So you have to kind of excuse a bit of all the things that happen here.
Yeah. I mean, but like they're going through. He takes MJ home, back to his house, and first thing you find out, Happy is no longer with Aunt May, and it's just a fling, and just it was just like this chaos, like stuff happening, all kinds of like the whole scene where they get back to Peter's apartment was all one shot. It was a whole 2-minute one shot.
Yeah.
And it just felt very awkward, which I guess it should have because a lot of awkward stuff was going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if they were trying to convey this, but during that whole scene, it felt like I couldn't breathe during that part.
Yeah,
and like
that's the point.
Yeah, because I mean, so what's going on? I feel like come on, say it, just get it out, and then you finally say it's like a sort of good relief.
Yeah. But I mean, stuff you go on a helicopter surrounding Peter's apartment and all that stuff. The Department of Damage Control came in and took Peter, and they're questioning him. They're questioning Ned. Ned gave away everything.
Yeah.
I love that. He was just sitting there talking, and then he was like, oh,
I told you. I knew first. I had to take it back. Oh, man.
And MJ obviously is stone faced, not going to tell him anything. Aunt May is like, I want a lawyer. I want to talk to Peter. Happy didn't get questioned, I don't think.
Yeah, he did.
But they did show him on the TV with his longer hair. So it showed that. And then you hear a noise. When you hear, it was like you hear something slam on the ground. You see this stick, right? And then it zooms up. It was Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock from Netflix's Daredevil.
He's a pretty good lawyer.
He's a very good lawyer.
Very good lawyer.
That even though he was in it for 30 seconds, it was just like them being like, "Oh, Matt Murdock's here. That means Daredevil's here. Happy birthday!" And then he never shows up again. It was just, I felt like it was perfect. This is like talking about legal stuff and be like, oh, you'll be fine, Mr. Parker. Mr. Hogan, you might need a lawyer. And then the brick gets thrown through the window and he catches it. And they're all like, how did you do that? And he was like, I'm a really good lawyer.
Really? I mean, oh man. It's so.
And the rumor is he'll be back in She-Hulk, which is soon.
I mean, it was really cool seeing them. It was really cool.
It was very cool. I'm curious. I thought this was funny. Ben Affleck's Daredevil movie. Jon Favreau played Foggy Nelson in that. So,
oh my gosh, I even take that into consideration because you're right.
Yeah, I thought that was something interesting to think about. But yeah, he disappears after that. Never see him again through the movie. We'll see him again. We obviously,
but okay.
Obviously, spoilers for Hawkeye finale, real quick. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Why are you watching this? Kingpin from the Daredevil show shows up, and so we knew that connection, but now we have Daredevil himself. And do you think we see? Okay, well, I don't want to get into spoilers because I've only watched like season 1, so I don't know what happens in the show. So maybe I shouldn't ask.
Wait. What show? Daredevil?
Daredevil. I was about to ask a question, but it might cause me
I haven't seen it forever, so I feel like I ain't gonna remember.
All right. Well, possibly maybe we could see more characters from the Netflix shows introduced. Hopefully not Iron Fist.
Well, I keep hearing that we're gonna get nothing else besides just Daredevil.
I want Punisher.
I want Punisher.
I do. I want John Bernthal's Punisher.
I mean,
which he was in Daredevil, so he can show up.
Yeah, possibly. I'll be okay with that. I don't know how I feel about I don't know how I feel about Iron Fist. I never really.
No.
I think the guy actually could have done a good job, but like the thing they did was like not good at all for the show.
I didn't like the show, but we're not talking about Netflix. We're talking about.
We're talking about something good. We're talking about greatness.
Well, Daredevil's good. But anyway, getting off of Daredevil. What happens after that?
What happens after Daredevil shows up?
MIT stuff. Well, he gets moved to another apartment. Peter goes to Happy's apartment, which we've never seen before, and it was interesting. He's got a lot of stuff there. Happy uses a CPAP machine when he sleeps.
Yeah, I really like that scene.
That was fun. We get it. You love each other. Go to sleep. I need my 8 hours.
He needs his 8 hours, man. I mean, like, Happy is such a Chad. And it's like, oh man, I love him. I love him.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if he'll stick around after this movie, but I'll get into that towards the end. But anyway, they're staying in Happy's apartment. The dummy robot was there. I thought that was really cool. So I'm trying to remember like the way this is going. Eventually, Peter's trying to get to MIT along with Ned and MJ, and they're really trying. But it's not working because of what's happening with Peter, and the controversy. It's ruining his friend's future. And so he was did he go to the lady that worked for MIT before or after he met with Strange?
After, because he tries to do the spell.
Okay, yeah.
He tries to do the spell with Strange, and then, obviously he keeps messing up the spell. Yep. He keeps like adding on people. And so what happens is Strange is all like, he's like, did you not get you didn't call him
you didn't call him, you came straight to me to brainwash the entire world.
Yeah. So then right after that he goes to there, and then we get like the coolest one of the coolest scenes in the movie. He goes to the lady. Yeah. He goes to the MIT lady.
Well, let's first backtrack. He goes to this. Sorry, he goes to.
We need to backtrack.
We need to backtrack. He goes to the sanctum, and everything's all snowy. Find out that Wong is the new sorcerer supreme because Strange was blipped out for 5 years. Good job for Wong, by the way, stepping up in the MCU. It's meant to be the Wong cinematic universe.
It better be. He might die in Doctor Strange too, though.
I hope not.
I hope not. I swear.
But we find out he's a sorcerer supreme, and then he says that one of the doors. You remember those doors that we saw in Doctor Strange? You turn them and it can transport in different places. Those are that's one of those is the door that broke and it turned a blizzard came through. So that's why everything's all snowy.
Yeah,
which is kind of strange. Wong leaves. He doesn't have the line where he's like, "Strange, don't cast that spell."
Too dangerous.
I guess they got cut out. But
a couple things were weird about it because it kept what do you call it? How do I explain it? And because I don't know. It's like a couple scenes they were shot different. Like Strange doesn't do the wink or anything like that.
I think they were trying to.
So he agrees to it.
Mm-hmm.
Wong somewhat agrees to it, but he's all like, "Yeah, but I'm not part of this, though." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Strange has used the spell before, and clearly it was successful because Wong doesn't remember something.
Wong does say
the mood party or whatever.
Wong says that it's riding the line between known and unknown realities, and it's a dark area, and it's very dangerous. But Pete, like we had talked about, he goes and does the spell, and Peter messes it up because he's always like, "Oh, maybe you should do this. Oh, maybe what about my Aunt May or something like that."
Yeah.
But he messes it up, and then he goes to find the MIT lady to at least convince them to let Ned and MJ be at least considered to be accepted. I also want to point out we get to see a mugshot of MJ at one point, along with Ned and Peter, and it confirms that her last name is Watson.
Yeah, so
that's a cool tie into her counterparts in other universes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going on, Peter arrives on the highway in a very awkward scene where he just kind of like knocks on the lady's window. She's on her way to the airport. And
I mean, he tried to get her before she left. So
yeah, and then his Peter tingle, if we're still calling it that, is starts acting up.
No. We're gonna call it Spidey sense. No, shut up.
They call it Peter tingle. Is what they say.
No, well, it's not what it is, though. It's not what it is.
We know, but I'm gonna call it that. But fine, Spidey senses. They start acting up, and I mean, obviously, if you've seen the trailers and you've seen the countless things about this bridge scene, you knew what was coming.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
but it was still awesome.
Oh, yeah. It was so.
Dr. Octopus arrives, Alfred Molina, and
hello, Peter. Oh my god! He
says, "Hello, Peter," and then he goes, did he say, "Do I know you?" I think he said that afterwards.
He's like, "Oh hi, do I know you?"
Yeah.
Like, what with my machine?
What have you done with my machine? The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
We'll get that line here in a minute.
And it's just like a banter back and forth. It's like, "Oh, I should have killed your girlfriend when I had the chance." And he's like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah, he goes the instant kill mode almost.
Yeah, and so the whole bridge scene fight goes on, and eventually, it was so good.
Supposed to be 15 minutes.
It was supposed to be. It was confirmed it was supposed to be 15 minutes long, but it was not, because due to them cutting down the length of the movie.
Stupid Sony, they don't know how to do anything besides do this good movie. Man.
But I'm not trying to spend too much time on these scenes, but this bridge scene was really awesome, and seeing Doc Ock fight,
it was worth it, because this is the most we've seen from the movie. Was this whole scene with like clips and everything? And
we had basically seen the whole scene. Yeah, so it's like a couple parts, but once they get underneath the bridge and they start talking, he sees his face. He says, "You're not Peter Parker," and he was like, "I am so confused right now." And like, could you imagine what it's like to be Peter at that moment?
It's all like, what? And like, because he has no idea what's going on.
No.
So,
but seeing Alfred Molina was a treat. They're fighting. He absorbs the nanotech.
Yeah.
And Peter is able to control his arms with his suit.
That kind of surprised. I'll be honest, I didn't like it for a minute.
I thought, at first I was like, what? But then I thought,
it's pretty humorous. It's pretty humorous. Funny. Yeah. I was all like, no, I want Doc Ock to kill him.
He was just powerless the whole time. And
yeah, pretty much.
So they go back on the bridge, and MIT lady agrees to talk to admissions for Peter, MJ, and Ned.
Yeah.
And then I think he gets more, his spidey senses go off again. And then
you hear a laugh.
Well, first you hear that the tinking noise of the bomb hitting stuff and rolling, and you hear the laugh, and then he flies through the smoke, and then immediately Doctor Strange transports him back to the dungeon. I'm like, really? Why you gotta do that?
It was a flying green elf.
It was. But immediately when he gets transported, Lizard's there, and Doctor Strange says he catches him in the sewer. But it transported everybody who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man throughout all the multiverse. Or at least a few, not all the multiverse, but a few universes.
The only two that matter.
Yeah. And, I'm trying to all these scenes are important in this movie, really, and I'm not trying to.
I'd say it's positive, because I'd say no scene really feels useless. Yeah, you haven't seen how Peter is dealing with the whole identity thing, and you go straight to this. It's great.
I want to skip to the crazy part.
I want to skip to.
Yeah, there's more stuff in between that we got to talk about.
Well, anyway, they tell them to team up, and Strange gives them the portal thing, saying hey, you don't have to get these guys back since you helped.
He turns the suit inside out. The black and gold suit turns out to actually be his inside out suit.
Yeah.
Which he then gets fixed by Aunt May, and then it gets another upgrade.
Later on, we'll get to that later.
So you saw the scene where he's walking around and in the forest.
In the woods, and
you see the ground moving. Yeah. At first, I didn't even think about Sandman when I first saw that. I was just watching it. And I was like, "What? This was that lizard crawling underground?" Yeah. Mole man.
Yeah. Well, I knew for a fact Electro was going to be in this thing because dudes like the trailers and all that. But I somewhat forgot Sandman was in this too.
Yeah, and he shows.
Because I was thinking maybe he's in a surge under the ground, and it's making or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know what to think, but I was thinking something along the lines of that.
And he protects Peter whenever Electro tries to shoot him with the lightning. Yeah, and I thought it was awesome. And the only thing I
know what you're about to say.
The only thing I did not like about Sandman was that it was Thomas Hayden Church. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
It was Thomas Hayden Church, but you only saw his face once in the movie. And I just read that it was unused footage from the old movie. And that it wasn't even he wasn't there. He just did voice recording.
It was weird. Well, I think I was a little confused. I'm like, why do they do that? And I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm guessing. I guess because he's just older. You know what I'm saying? They're all like, well,
so is Alfred Molina. He had
yeah, but I mean, the problem is there is no way to not do the I mean, you're able to do the de-aging on Hayden Church. You know what I'm saying?
You can de-age some Sand.
Yeah, make Sand look younger. Well, I'm saying they're like, okay, it'd be easier just to do the whole Sand thing instead of just making him, which is kind of weird because, like, can they just do the face instead of just doing this whole Sand body or whatever?
Yeah, that's a complaint I have. Like,
but whatever.
It was still cool though.
I don't think. I know they said die, but I don't think they. Not all of them die. Like
Lizard does not die, but he's the only one.
Well, Sandman doesn't die either.
That's true. That is true.
So I'm guessing it's just people who knew Spider-Man. So instead of just people who died.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Electro. He comes. He shows up.
Better.
He shows up blue, but like you don't see it. You see a little bit, but
yeah, you kind of see it, but he ain't really.
Yeah, blue. And when Peter stuff happens, I can't remember. They like do something with the electric towers or whatever they were around him.
Yeah, okay, so Sandman does like a tornado to kind of distract him, and Peter takes out all the power lines, so he can't get no electricity. Yeah, and so it cuts him off with the power.
And something happens in that scene where he gets his body back, and he's not blue anymore.
Yeah. I'm guessing.
I really don't remember.
Yeah, I don't fully remember how they explained it in it, but it was pretty. It was cool seeing it, and I'll be honest. It's just Jamie Foxx. So it's not really it's just Jamie Foxx playing Jamie Foxx.
But I want to point out that scene was hilarious where he was like, are we just going to ignore the fact that I'm standing here butt naked?
Yeah.
And Sandman was like, I am.
Oh, man. This...
that was good.
It's cool. Like, I'll be honest, I wasn't really excited to see Electro again.
What do you mean? He looks so good.
He looks. Oh yeah. No doubt he looks good in this movie. But I wasn't like after seeing what Spider-Man looked like, and I know you're saying he's like, well, I'm not gonna be blue in this one. I was still nervous. I was like, I don't know how I feel. I want. Yeah. But he does the role pretty good. It's not comic book Electro, but it's its own thing, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Then we get close to comic book Electro in one scene, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Then we see the best character in the whole movie.
Wait.
And what part?
They get transported. The Electro gets transported to I think Sandman as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Sandman as well. Well, Spider-Man, like Tom, he transports him to
that like dungeon
cell, and then Sandman's like, "Wait, what did you do to him?"
Yeah,
he like killed him or something.
And then that's when Sandman turns evil. Again, I thought it was really
to go home.
One of my he wants to go to his daughter.
Yeah,
one of my favorite parts about the villains, like scenes, them interacting with each other and characters that we never thought. Doc Ock interacting with Norman Osborn,
which is
and they knew each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, they were the greatest scientists, and
and it makes sense. It's just you wouldn't have thought of like that happening.
Yeah.
And we just get all this like Lizard talks to Electro because they know each other, and because he worked at Oscorp.
Yeah, Electro worked with Connors.
Mm-hmm. And just this is all kind of like not pointless details, but just like cool stuff that happened. Like I said, it's gonna be a long review.
It's one of that. I mean, we've been waiting a good while for this. So
yeah, this is the most anticipated. This movie's already made. I think I read 1.4 billion.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's the most a movie has made in the pandemic, and it's gonna. If all theaters were open, if everything was normal, this movie would be probably about 2 billion.
I mean, I don't even think people are even considering COVID or anything. I think people are just going.
They're just going because it's.
I think it's a good idea, honestly. I mean, what I'm saying? Like, I think you'll be fine. We had a.
I was not. I was
kidding. You were not. Yeah, you got sick before then, so you're okay.
Yeah, but anyway, continuing on. I'm going to get to the good part. Stuff happens and okay. Ned gets the sling ring.
Oh my gosh.
Ned gets the sling ring and he's got some kind of magic in him because that's apparent and they tease it a lot. But he has a sling ring. There's this box that Doctor Strange has, and he said all these villains are fated to die when they get sent back to the universe. I'm gonna press this button, they're gonna get sent back. Everything's gonna get sent back, put back to normal. Peter takes the box. Cool.
Hold on. You're missing like the biggest part.
What did I miss?
The part where we first see Norman.
Well, Norman Osborn shows up, and he doesn't show up. We go to an alleyway. And his mask is there, and he's arguing with his mask.
Mirror. It's a whole mirror thing, just like in the just like in the 2002 movie, like with the chair and stuff. It's just mirror.
He's arguing with his mask, and then he breaks the mask after he
with a rock.
Yeah, but did you notice that scene mirrors the scene where Toby's Spider-Man left his suit in the trash can and was walking away from it?
Yeah. I saw people like art saying like Green Goblin no more.
But you could still hear the laugh of the Green Goblin when he broke the mask, meaning that it was still there. It's still in Norman. The mask wasn't the Goblin.
Yeah.
What did you think of his new suit that he had throughout the movie?
Okay, so I was mixed on it. I don't know if you knew that. I was a little bit mixed on it for a while because I thought it would, because I thought, I'm like, cool, they got the purple thing, but give me the helmet as well. Yeah. But at the same time, Willem Dafoe's face can just do it.
That's what I was saying. I had talked about that on the podcast about a month ago. I was like, even though he doesn't have the mask, that's good because Willem Dafoe is a very facial actor. He does a lot of expressions and he's like, that's his thing. And I was like, so I think it's perfect that he just had the goggles and not the helmet.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is probably the best we've ever seen of Goblin.
That was very good. The Flying Green Elf.
Flying Green Elf.
But let's see. Okay, so we saw that he goes to feast. To the
box part now.
He goes to feast with and talks to Aunt May, and he's like, he says, someone's in my house. Oscorp doesn't exist here. My son.
Yeah, there's so many references to just the other worlds. It's unbelievable.
But Oscorp doesn't exist in the MCU, which is surprising to me. That rules out that tower was Oscorp in Far From Home with the refurbished Avengers Tower.
Yeah, so
Baxter Building or
Baxter Building confirmed.
I think Baxter Building is or it could just be a random building. It could just be a random building.
It's just someone just bought it. Someone just bought it.
I mean, that could be what it is. But anyway, that's unimportant details. Back to the box. This box, they can press a button on it and it sends everyone back to the universe and to die. Peter doesn't want them to die. So he steals this box.
Take a chance.
Yeah. He steals this box and it's awesome fight between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man in the mirror dimension. Very visually stunning. I thought it was so interesting when he shot the astral form of Peter out of his body and he's trying to grab the box that his spidey senses were still like working.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but on Peter, like his ghostly or spiritual form,
you could see
the lightning and stuff. Yeah, that was great.
I just find it's so interesting to me. Like I guess it just, I don't know how to explain it. But
it was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Also, awesome fight. Peter eventually gives this box to MJ, and when he's getting ready to find a way to save these villains, and that's when Ned gets the sling ring, and they go to Ned's house.
No. They go to Happy's house.
No, well, the villains.
Ned and MJ?
The villains, yeah, I'm talking about Ned and MJ. They go to Ned's house.
Yeah, okay. They go to Ned's grandma's.
Oh, yeah. And
best
yeah, way better than the two that are about to show up. But
let's just say it at this point.
Peter takes the villains to Happy's apartment, and there's a scene later on where Happy calls Peter, and he's like, "Hey, Who are those guys, huh?
Bring a cyborg.
Bring a cyborg in my apartment. No, I just love Jon Favreau's delivery.
Oh, yeah, Jon Favreau is the king.
But continuing on, I think the scene in Ned's grandma's house happens before all the stuff in the apartment, like the big stuff happens. So we'll go to that. This is the good part, ladies and gentlemen. They're at the house, and this is what are we doing? We just skipped right past a huge moment.
Yeah, well, I mean,
wait,
do I need to do this? I mean, you saw the movie just now and you're forgetting. Well, you're forgetting that, like,
we're forgetting a lot. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, you forgot that Peter helps Otto.
Yeah, Peter helps
to his senses. He gives him his new chip because
you do this. You do it.
yeah. Let me do this. You're useless.
Talk about this part, and then I'll pick back up with the Ned's grandma's house.
No. I do that part since you keep screwing up. You keep missing.
Well, I just saw this movie.
I get to say that part. All right.
I saw this movie not even like 6 hours ago.
I know, and I mean, yes, I've seen it 3 times, but I know what goes on. So, anyways, they go back to crap. Dang, now I'm having trouble.
They fix Otto.
Yeah, so Peter's all like, I'm gonna fix them. I'm gonna fix them. So what happens is you figure out that a chip in Otto's, the controlling arms is fried.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they, make a new chip and put it over to help him, and it ends up working. Peter
teaming up with Norman, which, by the way, Norman said previously when he was in the dungeon, I'm something of a scientist myself, which that line was directly from Spider-Man 1.
Oh yeah, directly. And so he even offers, he's like, hey, if you're willing to go on to another universe.
Yeah, he offered him a job.
I'm like, heck yeah, go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyways, they kind of working together for a minute, trying to make a goblin, anti-goblin serum, found a device for Electro.
Yep.
And Electro is constantly eyeing on that arc reactor.
Electro loves the power that he's got in this universe.
Oh yeah.
Him and Sandman are very distrusting of everything.
Yeah. Sandman just wants to go home. There's nothing really.
Yeah.
He ain't really out to kill him. He's like, I just want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And he's willing to do whatever just to make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Happens. So they work together, and then the whole scene they do it with with Otto it works, and they put the thing to soak up all the electricity out of Electro on them and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have this little scene with Octavius and Goblin.
Yeah,
Goblin, and he's all like, Norman isn't gonna be good. You're gonna be whole again.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of gives Norman gives like a kind of like a smile or whatever.
Yeah,
saying like yeah. And
I think Goblin had taken over by then.
Yeah. I think I somewhat believe Goblin took over the whole time. He's been there the whole time. He's just kind of.
I think the scene at Feast is when he wasn't taking over, but
okay.
He just acted too nice. Did you see in that scene he was stealing donuts and putting it in his pocket?
Yeah, dude, I was laughing like crazy. So what happens here? So, anyways, they're all together in like the room, and all of a sudden, Peter's spider sense starts going on.
That was a very intense scene. I had no idea what was going on.
I swear, it feels like I can't breathe.
Lizard,
I feel like I can't breathe watching this movie.
No, you missed one thing. Lizard's still down in the Feast truck, and J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, I forgot.
J. Jonah Jameson has arrived after getting a tip that Peter Parker was there, and so that's happening.
Yes.
And Lizard's like, and so it begins. Whenever J. Jonah Jameson shows up, he's like, "Oh, I already have the cops on their way here, and the authorities."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but anyway,
I mean, it's pretty cool. So, anyways, all of a sudden they're in there, and Peter's spider sense starts, going off.
Yeah,
it's like, well, what the heck's going on? Very intense, and you're trying to figure out yourself.
Yeah, you're like seeing people in the background.
You're trying to take a guess of what's going to happen. I did
not even think about Norman turning on them. I thought he was just sensing that the cops are on the way, and like all the like helicopters and stuff.
Oh yeah. People were showing up. We need to go. Okay.
That's what I sensed. And then he like immediately turns and webs Norman's arm on the window. I was like, oh.
Oh, okay.
And then Willem Dafoe gives an awesome like speech.
Probably, oh god, it's so it's so perfect.
He's like, these aren't curses, they're gifts. And he was like,
he gives like this whole good speech.
Yeah, he's like gods don't need to do something. And
they don't need to. They choose or something like that. I can't remember the line.
But he's convincing
Willem
these
Dafoe being the goat for like a minute.
He's convincing these villains that they don't need to do mess with these cures, and it eventually works. And Electro rips the thing off his chest, and he gets the arc reactor too. Yeah, and
he goes out.
Yeah, and
Goblin and Peter
went at it.
They go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And all that stuff was practical, right? Like him throwing him through the full floor and everything.
That was like that.
That was practical.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, they go at it, and it gave me straight Joker and Batman.
Batman. He was punching Goblin, and Goblin was just laughing. I'm like, that is such a Batman and Joker moment. Essentially, that's what this is. This is Marvel's. This is in popularity wise, and like they his the Rogues Gallery, kind of like Batman. Yeah. This is essentially Batman and Joker, but Marvel.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it's that scene was so well done, and the villains are going crazy.
Oh
and
man,
May has the Goblin serum. She like kind of runs downstairs.
Mm-hmm. They made a serum. They made a serum to make Goblin whole.
Yeah.
And or Norman.
So Peter, again, me and Darren cannot stress enough. Peter and Goblin were going at it.
They went through so many floors.
It went through so many floors, and then Lizard comes out, grabs Peter, throws him back, and like it's pretty intense. It's so good. I mean, it is fan. It's marvelous. I mean, marvelous. Yeah. But
they fall into the lobby. May is running out. May is running down to get out of the building, and she runs across Goblin right there. And I think she runs up to him and stabs him when he's beating Peter, and stabs him with the serum. But it didn't work.
What does Goblin say? He says like your weakness is what does he say? He's saying like something about his like weakness is that he can't.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to take something away from you after. Yeah. Sorry, we can't remember this. We don't remember every single line from this movie.
Yeah, I wish we did.
Yeah.
That's why I'm buying the Blu-ray, so I can.
But he calls his glider and flies through the window and hits May. And Peter was sitting there trying to tell May to run. Yeah. And she wanted to stay and fight to save her nephew. And the glider hits her. And Landon says it stabbed her, but I thought it just hit her.
It stabs her.
Okay, well,
it doesn't pierce her or anything, but it gets her. It stabs her. Okay. And kind of throws her off.
Yeah, and then Goblin.
You get like the best face of Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, he hops on the glider and turns around. It's such a Green Goblin moment, and he gets the pumpkin bomb, and he says something, and then he throws it. And then he flies out and he throws another one and blows up some cars outside.
He looks at May. He looks back at Peter.
Yeah. He throws that bomb and Peter tries to catch it and it bounces off his fingertip and explodes. Mm. And following this scene.
You said you got really emotional for this.
It was a very emotional scene. This was the equivalent of his Uncle Ben dying. We haven't seen his Uncle Ben die. He is dead, but we didn't see it in live action. This is the equivalent of seeing his parental figure, besides Tony Stark, dying. And she gives the line, with great power. She says, with great power also must come great responsibility, which is the exact line from the comics. Man, I'm trying to remember exactly. Hold on. So, okay. Len, do you remember what else was said in this scene? sorry everybody for some technical difficulties, but we're gonna get right back to the review. This Aunt May death scene, like she gives the line, "With great power must also come great responsibility," which is directly from the comics.
Yeah,
finally get that line.
Comics. Yes.
But what precedes, I didn't think she was going to die. I thought she was fine. And she's like walking around, everything's great.
I think she was going to die. What are you talking about? You cannot say that line without dying.
I didn't think she was going to die. And then she just falls, and she's like, "I need to like rest for a minute, catch my breath." And is a sad scene. Seeing Peter basically lose like his only other loved one.
Oh yeah.
Like he already lost Tony, and he lost his Uncle Ben's already been gone, and now he's losing his Aunt May. And man, you said it didn't get you that much. That scene got me.
Yeah, it didn't get me. I was, it was sad. Don't get me wrong. I was all like, I'm too grown for this. I ain't gonna cry. But no, it was sad though. It was sad. I just didn't cry. You know what I'm saying? You felt. I felt it. I felt the pain. The pain. Yeah.
And what came after this scene? Happy shows up. This is okay. Happy shows up. And
this part did kind of get me. I will say
sees that May is dead, and he. Like you can tell he's getting ready to cry. Then I don't know if they were SWAT or like something.
Yeah, SWAT is ready to come in and get him.
Yeah, and they take Happy out and they slam him on the car, and I'm like,
well, he gets out. They make sure they get him first before they get to Peter.
Yeah, and they're like, "Don't move, we're open fire."
He's like, run. He's like, yeah, Happy's yelling. I'm telling her, he's like, "Run, Peter, run!" You know.
Yeah. And he runs. He goes and is on a rooftop. And J. Jonah Jameson's there, and he's sitting there talking.
Best shot of the movie.
Gorgeous shot. And he's sitting there, the rain dripping off his face, and he got blood all over him. And you can just tell he is emotionally distraught. And it just goes through like all these different like sad scenes, and then you go back to Ned's grandma's house. And they're seeing the news and what happened, and Ned's crying, and MJ's kind of upset. And then you're
kind of deciding whether they should do the box.
Yeah,
they should press the button.
And then they wanted to see Peter, and Ned has the sling ring, so he says, "I want to see Peter," and he starts trying to open up a portal, and it works, which is a big thing because Doctor Strange got surprised when he found out that Ned opened up a portal. They said that takes practice. So Ned may have some magic in him. But he opens a portal, and you see somebody in the alleyway. And they're like, Peter, hey, Peter, come here. And he looks, and he comes running up.
No. Yeah, you got more context. Because Peter, they're talking, they're like, yeah, I wish I could just see him. Mm-hmm. And you did say that? Yeah,
they said they wanted to see Peter.
I'm sorry, I'm picturing the thing in my head. I ain't paid attention to what you're saying.
He comes running up, and you're like, who is this? You're like, it's got to be somebody. Yeah. You see his eyes first, and that's immediately when I knew. Andrew Garfield.
He is the werewolf. He's the werewolf.
He it was true.
No, it's funny because the reveal is like so perfect because you see the costume, and you're like, oh, okay. Okay, this could be like a double or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then they're like, everyone's like freaking out. They're like, everybody's screaming. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, what? He's like, whoa. He takes off the mask. Oh my gosh. It's so, oh my God.
And this is Andrew after the events of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, after Gwen's
after Rhino and everything. Yes.
Yeah. And so I did mention Rhino, which would you have wanted Rhino to be in this movie?
Yeah.
But he was not.
I think Paul Giamatti could have had a second chance, like same way Electra did. Mm-hmm. So
I think it would have been cool. But oh well. Still a good movie. Mm-hmm. You got Andrew is there, and they're trying to prove, they're like, are you sure you're Peter Parker? You're not Peter Parker. They're throwing bread at him. And he's like, he jumps on the ceiling and is like standing there, or like hanging there. And Ned's grandma's like, wants him to get the cobweb that's up there.
Get the cobweb in there.
And they go do that. And it's just like this whole banter, like, oh, how are you Peter Parker? You're not Peter Parker. Prove it.
Yeah, the constant does. And the whole time the whole time this was happening, I'm thinking to myself, he's coming.
If Andrew's there, someone else.
If Andrew's there, someone else must be showing
and then
up.
MJ says, "Oh, the spell didn't work. You just need to keep doing it until it does work."
Yeah, just keep trying. I was like, yeah,
and
you
he
better
keeps trying. And
I don't care how long it takes.
He's trying to open a portal, and a portal opens, and there's a figure standing there. And I had no idea who that was. I was like, "What is this?" I wanted to say that it was Toby, and
It's
I was
Cole
looking at him. And then he like walks into the room, and it was Toby Maguire.
I'm sorry. I cannot get over it, man. This is like, I don't know if you understand, man.
I understand.
And look, oh, dude, it's like I've lived my whole life going, I'll never see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in another movie.
Uh-huh. And now you've seen Tobey Maguire Spider-Man interact with both Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield.
I know, in modern day. I mean, it's so, and I was in a theater. I can say I saw Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in a movie theater. Now, I cried. I cried.
He waves at everybody. Oh, Toby's got old. I mean,
oh yeah. You could tell he's aged. Yeah. I mean, which is why, again, this is why they didn't do the whole, like, I mean, Hayden Church. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they did any young thing to Toby. I don't believe they did.
I don't think so. No. But he's there. He shows up.
And so, like, Toby and Andrew are like the best parts of that movie. Obviously, I can't tell you how genius it was. I remember I was kind of like mad because I was like, we know they're there. I want to see it. But man, by the way, I wanted to bet with my father. I just want to point that out. Won against them longer than 10 minutes. But it's just Andrew and Tom and Toby just interacting with each other is like
great. We'll get to a science scene in a minute.
Oh yeah, I mean it's well worth the price of admission.
Yeah, but Toby's there. Him and Andrew kind of go at it for a second, and then
they kind of like, I was a little confused for a minute, but I was like, oh totally. Yeah. Wait, he's not your friend. And then they look, and then they do like a backflip, and then web each other. Mm-hmm. And
but what a
cool
amazing.
youth pastor showed up. A cool youth pastor showed up in No Way Home.
A cool youth pastor.
A cool youth pastor showed up. I'm happy about that.
But they go through. I don't remember what else happened in that scene. I was just like filled with joy, and so I kind of didn't really pay attention to most stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, they go to find Peter. They were talking about where they would go when they needed alone time. Toby was the Chrysler Building. I think Andrew was a Chrysler Building.
No. Toby was Chrysler Building,
okay.
And
Andrew was Empire State.
Empire State, better view.
His sweet view. And then they're like, where would Peter go? And Peter won. Where would Peter 1 go? And he was on top of the school, and he was just there crying because of Aunt May. Yeah. MJ and Ned show up, and they're hugging him. That was a pretty emotional scene. And then
they
said we brought some friends with us, and it glances up, and it's
you got my Twitter bookmark. You got my Twitter bookmark right now. Oh my god! I'm so glad you didn't see that. I just realized that you didn't see the movie when I put that up. So,
yeah, they've been dangerous.
It's so,
but they're there,
like, mid-teen, man.
Mm-hmm. And our Peter is like, you guys need to go back home. We don't want you here. And then they tell him how to deal with this grief. And Andrew's Spider-Man starts talking about how after Gwen's death, he became this filled with rage and just like a very angry person.
He got bitter.
Yeah, he got bitter. And they start talking about Uncle Ben, both of them, and how they're trying to relate to Peter. And then Peter says, my Aunt May told me with great power. And then you saw the look on Toby's face, and he finishes the sentence. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, Uncle Ben.
Yeah, and
you're done.
Mm-hmm. So they're relating, and then they start. Our Peter tells them that they need to deal with their villains. They've done this before. It's up to them. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember exactly what happened right after that, but they end up in the lab right after the scene, right?
Yeah, they're trying to work on the cures. So, Toby works on goblin serum. Andrew works on lizard DNA, and Tom works on the rest.
Yeah, and this scene
They just talk.
So awesome.
And it's really nice.
That scene was one of the funnier scenes in the movie. Ned, and this is, I'm kind of skipping ahead. You can go back a little bit, but Ned goes Peter, and they all go yeah, and then they were like, you meant him. Peter Parker is like, oh, that's all of us.
That's all. Spider, or he says it like 3 times.
Yeah. But I think this is right before this. Ned's talking to Toby, and Toby was like, "Do you have a best friend?" And he goes, "I did." He was like, he turned evil, right, and then he died in my arms. And then Ned was like, He was like just acting all awkward around Peter because he thought he was going to die.
He thought he was going to kill him. Yeah.
And Andrew, they get to talking, and they're like, "Oh, we have web shooters. Your webs come out of you." And Andrew's like completely disgusted by that.
No, yeah.
And
we'll go back to that scene. Mm-hmm. Well, they talk about more later on, so we'll go there later.
Yeah, but they make all these cures, and Andrew looks at Toby and he goes, "So are you just going to dress as a cool youth pastor?"
Or do you have your suit? And he pulls down. He lifts the collar down. It's funny because for a minute I thought he actually was not going to wear the suit, and I was going to be like really upset. I was like, no.
But he mentions MJ and that he's still with her, and they work things out.
Yes. No.
Yeah. And
so Peter hasn't. Andrew. We're just going to go by the actors' names. Andrew hasn't really moved on from Gwen.
Yeah. But I think in this movie he gets a little bit of closure towards the end.
He does, and we'll get into that's a big scene, and it's a really beautiful scene. Everyone was like, it felt like I was watching like an animal movie because every girl was like, oh, everybody. I was getting emotional with that scene. But again, we'll go to that later.
Yeah. But going on after this, they are going to the new and improved Statue of Liberty, right?
Yeah.
Peter's doing a video to the Daily Bugle telling them, "I'm sorry. He said I could have killed all of you, but I didn't." And by the way, Doctor Strange is also trapped in the mirror dimension right now.
Oh yeah. By the way, that fight with Doctor Strange was pretty cool.
Yeah, we talked about that. I want to point out.
Oh yeah, we did.
Doctor Strange shows back up towards the end. I also want to point out the line he says where he's like, "I've been trapped hanging over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours." Reminds me of the scene with Loki where he's like, "I've been falling for 30 minutes."
Yeah. Well, Doctor Strange needs to learn 30 minutes is not that bad. 12 hours. But
going back, they're on the new improved Statue of Liberty. He's got a Captain America shield, which I don't know why they did that, but okay.
I'm guessing because of Endgame and they want to thank the Avengers or something. Thank Cap.
Yeah, but hasn't that shield been through enough? Like,
it's been through everything.
I read a rumor, and we saw at the beginning of the movie there were Rogers the Musical posters, or like billboards. I read a theory that it was originally called Captain America the Musical, but because of what happened with John Walker, they changed it to Rogers the Musical.
Oh wow!
Yes, I thought that was interesting. But we see some posters for that. So I was thinking maybe they're still trying to honor the legacy of Captain America through the Statue of Liberty, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we get this scene where it's okay. First off, Toby and Andrew are talking. Andrew asks, wait, yeah, okay.
So you make webs out of your body.
Yeah. He said, "You make webs out of your body? Like, how does that work?" And they're just like, he's just like so confused about how these webs come out of Toby. Yeah. And he says, "Do webs come out of anywhere else?" And then he was like, "I'm not going to answer that question."
Had you ever had a web block? And I was like, "Yes, too."
And Toby starts going, "Oh, my back," and he's like stretching, and which is a callback.
Like my back, yeah, Spider-Man 2.
He's like, "When you crack your back," and he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And he does it, and he was like, "Oh wow, yeah."
That's so man. I was laughing. Like that scene was again perfect. That was another perfect scene. He talked about all the villains they fought.
He talked about Venom. He mentioned Venom.
Venom. I'm surprised it mentioned Venom.
It should have mentioned Eddie Brock, Topher Grace.
Yeah, and Tom's like, yeah, I fought an alien too.
In space, he was purple.
Yeah, and it's all like, I'm lame. I only fought a crazy Russian guy in a rhinoceros.
Yeah, and then he goes, "No, you're not lame. You're amazing.
You are amazing.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man. And you are amazing." He's like, "Thanks, right? You did that."
And then he's like, "I've always wanted brothers," and you could tell there's like this is a very familial feeling between them three.
Yeah.
And, what comes after this scene is probably my favorite scene in the whole movie, where they get ready, the villains are coming, they go and swing on top of the Statue of Liberty, and you see all three Spider-Men like silhouetted by the moon, and it was just they all land together. That was my favorite scene.
Well, it's so funny. Well, you're missing a part where because the villains come in, they kind of fight for a bit, but then they kind of like lose because they never really teamed up before, even though Toby has with James Franco, with Harry. But anyways, they're like, "Oh, we don't know how to team up," and they're like, "Who's Peter 2? I thought I was Peter 2." It was like this whole
Peter 1 was our MCU Peter. Peter 2 was Toby. And then Peter 3 was Andrew. And he was like, and that was a mirror scene of the meme, the pointing Spider-Man meme. They're all pointing at each other.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
What I'm trying to remember all like the scenes because obviously that's like the big. I mean, those are like big moments.
We've hit them all right now. They all each are going to different villains to help cure them. Mm-hmm. Electro shows up and with his new and improved look, and Sandman shows up.
Very improved. Yeah.
Sandman and Lizard both show up. And we get that shot from the trailer but they did edit out both Toby and Andrew in that scene, as we already knew. Yes. Andrew kicked Lizard.
Told you, John.
Yeah.
Told you, John. Mr. Spillman. Spillman, you're wrong. he I don't know why he thought that. It's so obvious. I mean, I hope he's messing with us.
He said he was just turning around. I'm like, no, he got kicked in the face by Andrew.
He literally got kicked in the face by someone.
But going on, this huge fight's going on, destroying the scaffolding around the Statue of Liberty. And Andrew's going after Lizard. Toby is going after Sandman, and Tom is doing Electro. And all this stuff's going on. Eventually, I think Toby starts fighting the Lizard at one point, and they kind of like switch up. Yeah, because he was on the
that's at the beginning part before they kind of like talk. They have like a kind of a timeout, like hey, let's talk real quick.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of funny because it seems like Tobey Maguire is like somewhat because you can tell he's like trying to be not. He's like really like nice to him.
Yeah.
When Tom's like, I don't mean to brag, but I was in the Avengers, and he's like, the Avengers. That's great.
Avengers. That's great.
What is that? What is that? He's like, I don't have the Avengers.
Yeah, and
like, are you in a band?
Andrew's like, it's a band. Are you in a band?
I wonder. I don't know if I'm looking too into this, but I wonder if that's somewhat of a reference to Spider-Punk.
No, I think it's a reference to Infinity War. Bruce Banner says to Tony Stark when he was like, the Avengers broke up, we're toast, and he was like broke up like a band, like the Beatles.
Well, I think that's looking. I mean, we're probably just both.
We're reaching. We're reaching.
We're both reaching. Probably.
Let's go back to the movie.
Let's go back to the movie.
So they're fighting all these people. They're trying to cure them. Things aren't looking too great. Doc, I don't believe I'm skipping anything. This is a big fight scene.
Yeah, big fight scene. Kind of tossing the cures around. I think they cure Sandman and Lizard.
And you see Thomas Hayden Church, but that was used footage.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, they reused footage for. Yeah, it's funny. It was reused, but it was unused in 3.
Yeah.
But they filmed that at some point.
So
they did the same thing with Lizard. Ivan.
And you saw Reese Ifans,
yes,
which I thought was cool. So they get cured, still fighting Electro. Doc Ock shows up, And he shows up beside Electro, and he's like, "I'll finish him." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
I was thinking he turned bad because remember, like Electro kind of throws him out the building. I thought I tried the chip again, and that's what I was thinking. I'm like, "Oh crap!"
He goes to fight him, and he grabs Andrew, and he grabs Toby.
He grabs all of them.
Okay, grabs all of them, and then he reaches back and grabs Electro.
Yeah, and then lets him go.
Yeah, doesn't he rip the arc reactor off?
He rips the arc reactor off and then puts on the battery thing.
Yeah, and cures Electro.
Yeah. And you get a pretty cool dialogue with.
There's a cool dialogue between
Andrew and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, he's sitting there. He was like, "Oh, you're a dude from Queens." He said, "I'm back to being a nobody." He said, "You everybody." He said, "I thought you'd be black though." And he was like,
"Oh, I'm sorry."
He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He was like, "Well, maybe there's a black Spider-Man out there somewhere," obviously hinting towards Miles Morales.
Yeah. I don't think we're
gonna get Miles.
We ain't looking too deep in that one. No, I don't believe.
No. But then you get a really cool scene between Otto and Toby.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. He was like, "Mr. Parker," he says, "Good to see you, my boy." And I was like, "I love this."
He's like, "How you been doing, my dear boy?"
Yeah, and
he says the line, "Trying to do better," and I was all like, "Oh, like." Mm-hmm. I felt like being a kid again. Honestly,
I wanted the line. One line I would have liked would be, "Mr. Parker, brilliant but lazy."
Yeah, I know. I was expecting him to say that. He's gonna say. I thought he was gonna say that. He's like, "Parker, brilliant but lazy," or something like that. And then he's gonna say, "Try to do better." Or so, I thought he was gonna say that, but I don't care.
Anyway, next, Goblin shows up.
Spider-Man want to play, and then
we're missing something. I
forgot.
Ned and MJ.
They get strange back.
They had opened a portal and were trying to close the portal actually. And
yeah, but Ned can't do it.
Yeah, and Lizard came in there, was chasing them, and tried to attack them. Then we come out. MJ falls.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we missed this. MJ falls. And
we missed like a really big part.
It's mirroring almost exactly the scene where Gwen fell in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy because Tom goes out to grab her.
But Goblin hits him and he knocks him out. Then you see Andrew
jump.
He looks down,
and everyone in my theater, they were yelling louder than they were when they were like introduced. My theater was at least.
Well,
they were screaming. They're like, "Yeah!" We were going crazy for that part.
It was very good. He catches her and they land, and he's just holding her, and she's like, "Thank you."
Like, he's about to burst into tears.
Yeah, you could tell he was like, "I finally did it." He saved a girl.
It was a big closure. My mom. I got something. My mom. She got very emotional on that part.
It was a very emotional scene.
It's well deserved. It was a great scene.
Great scene. But that happens. He sets her down and he goes back to help everybody. So MJ's fine. Ned was hanging there, but I'm not. I do remember.
Doctor Strange's Kate.
Doctor Strange returns back and he's like, "I've been stuck over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours."
Yeah,
and all that. But he shows up and he's helping fight everybody. Ned falls. The cape goes and catches him and floats him down. And this is after the Captain America shield's down on the ground. It's already fell off the statue.
Yeah.
And Peter's on there, and Goblin.
Yeah, Goblin tries to grab the box from Strange, and then Doc Ock grabs him.
Mm-hmm. Doc Ock versus Goblin.
He cuts off his arms.
He does. He cuts off one of them.
Well, yeah, he cuts off his mechanical arms, and then
They fall back down on the thing. Peter grabs a bomb and blows it up, and they fall.
Yeah. Well, no. Remember, they get the box, and Goblin put a bomb in it.
Oh, that's true, and it caused the whole.
It focuses all three of them. You see, but all that three of their spider senses going off.
Yeah, and it causes all of Staten Island that they were at to be engulfed in this the multiverse was breaking open. Is what it was, and it looked like What If, remember where the Watcher would be at?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. With the glass breaking, yes.
Mm-hmm. It looked just like that, and you could see silhouettes of people in there, and I caught a few of them.
Yes, I did too.
I saw Scorpion. I saw Scorpion.
I saw Scorpion. I saw
Craven.
Rhino.
I saw Rhino. I saw Craven.
Okay, there was 3 other ones, and people have speculated, and this ain't confirmation.
Okay.
Everybody's saying they saw Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Okay, interesting.
Black Cat.
Okay.
And Mysterio.
Another Mysterio. But they were all coming through the multiverse. I need to rewatch that scene to just pause it and pick it up.
I'm waiting for that 4K copy to get a announcement. But he saw a text I sent. I've been trying to find one.
They're all coming through the multiverse, and Doctor Strange is like, "I'm going to stop it. I have to stop it." And Peter's like, "Well, the only way to stop it if everyone forgot that I'm Peter Parker, everybody." And
wait, hold on. Well, that doesn't happen yet.
That's true. That is true. He doesn't fight Goblin. He fights Goblin first.
Yeah, he fights Goblin, then that whole part happens.
So he fights Goblin. It's a brutal fight.
Oh, like very brutal. Like he's all like, he knocks down Goblin off his glider, and then like they have this little banter towards each other, and Goblin's all like, "Poor Peter, too weak to send me home to die." Yeah. He's like, "No, I'm gonna kill you myself."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dang!"
And he's trying to kill Goblin.
And I'm like, and like he starts beating on him. He picks him, slams him around the shield. And I heard my friend, and I clowned him so hard. He was like, "Please stop." I was like, "Of course he ain't gonna kill him. It ain't gonna happen."
Yeah, but he's on
the verge of killing him though. He's on the verge.
He eventually, once he beats him down enough, he picks up his glider and is gonna stab him with it. And he goes down, and Toby comes and stops the glider, and he just looks at him, and he just says, "He's like, no." He just looks at him.
Yeah, he just looks at him, and you can tell.
Peter still tries to push that glider down and stab.
Yeah,
and it's sitting there. I'm not sure what happened after this.
Out of anyone who should understand what Tom's going through, it should be Toby.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And he puts the glider down. Something happens, and Toby gets stabbed. I wasn't exactly sure what it was.
He puts the glider down, and then like they kind of like.
Does Goblin stab him with that thing on his arm that he had?
Yes, he stabs Toby, and then
which surprised me. I was like, he's not going to die. They're not about to kill Tobey Maguire.
I know. I thought they were about to kill Tobey Maguire in this movie, and then we would have given this movie a 1 out of 10. And but no, that doesn't happen.
He says, "I've been stabbed before."
He did way worse, and so it's so good to see Tobey.
But they defeat Goblin, and Andrew's there helping Toby.
Yeah.
And this is when Tom goes up to Strange, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
And he's like, "Oh, if you can just erase everybody's memory that I exist, then maybe it'll fix everything." He said it would fix everything. He was like,
"But like nobody will."
Yeah, he said, "But the people you love, he said we, and I was like, "Oh." He said he loved them. But he was like, "We won't remember you." And he was like, "That's fine." And he was like, "Well, you better go say your goodbyes." And so he goes down, and you get the scene between Andrew, Tom, and Toby.
Yeah.
And where they're like, he's like, "Thank you guys so much." He was like, "It's what we do," is what Toby said.
Yeah.
And
then they hug, and I'm all like, man.
Yeah, they hug, and he's like, "I'll see you," and he leaves. And then there was a funny scene. Toby is with Tom, and Toby said, and he was like, "You're in pain." Is what Andrew said. He said, "You're in a lot of pain." He's like, "Yeah."
It was good.
It was a very good scene. And then
they talked to Ned and MJ.
Yeah, he talks to Ned and MJ, and that was emotional. That got me again.
I was like, okay. I knew.
He was saying goodbye to him. I was like, not Ned, man. Like Ned was one of my favorites. That old
Ned was bro.
Ned was cool. I like Ned.
He was the guy in the chair.
And he was. And they were. He was saying his goodbyes, and MJ said, "I love you," and he went to say it back. She said, "No." She said, "After all this is over, you wait to tell me next time you see me, and it'll or I guess her idea was like it'll snap me back to my memories, and I'll remember you."
Yeah.
And
he's like, yeah, I promise. As soon as this goes, I'll tell you. I'll explain everything.
Yeah, he does the final handshake with Ned, and then he kind of like goes to walk away, and he turns around, and MJ mouths, "I love you," and then it starts showing all the people disappearing. Sandman vanishes. This is all out of order, but it happens. Sandman goes back to his universe. Everyone's going back. Doc Ock goes back.
Yeah. So you see Goblin go away.
Yeah. And then you see Toby and Andrew, and they look at each other and they do the peace sign and they disappear. And I'm like, man, why can't they stay?
Well, I mean, this is important, but we kind of forgot to mention that they did put the cure on Goblin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They did cure Goblin. Everyone got cured, and they got sent back to the universe, and it most likely changed a lot in those universes.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
But Peter, no one remembers him. Nobody.
No.
Who's Peter Parker? I don't even know.
What did we just say? What movie?
What are we talking about? We're talking about Spider-Man. I don't even know who Peter Parker is. We've been talking about. But no. Everyone's memory is erased of him. J. Jonah Jameson's talking. He's like, the Spider Menace and all this stuff. He called him a menace. I was so happy.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know J. Jonah Jameson may be sticking around.
Yeah. I was. Is this just me? I was somewhat kind of hoping that. I wanted
a few more scenes with him.
I wanted
the line where he was like, "Was that a dinosaur?" Was not in the movie.
That was cut. Were you really mad that was cut?
Yes, that was a funny line. He was just like, "What was that?" He should have been like, "Was that a dinosaur?"
Dinosaur. Or like they cut. I had to cut a lot from this movie. Like, I think release the
Watts cut.
Release the John Watts cut.
But no one remembers Peter.
No one remembers Peter, and we probably get, I'd say, another fantastic scene in the movie.
Is it the one? Well,
you see Peter walking down, this
walking the street.
Has a note. You tell he's here to say everything what's happened to MJ.
Yeah, he's rehearsing his lines. He pulls up. He goes up to the a coffee shop, I think is where she's working.
Yeah. It's a coffee shop.
Yeah, and she goes in there. He sees MJ, and she sees him, and she waves, and he gets a little excited. But it was Ned behind him. Ned walks in.
Yeah, I thought they were about to kiss for a minute. Was that just me?
So, yeah, that would have been weird.
I would have like lost it. I'd be like, oh my god.
But Ned walks in. Turns out they're both going to MIT, so that worked out. And Peter's seeing how happy they are, and he's kind of like second guessing. He's like, I don't know.
He doesn't know. He's all like, should I say it?
Yeah, and he orders a coffee, and he wants to tell MJ, "I love you." That's the line that she told him to tell him that. But he just can't get it out. He says, "Hi, I'm Peter Parker."
Yeah,
and I would like a coffee.
How better they are. Oh.
Yeah, and she gives him the coffee, and he sees the Band-Aid on her head where she got cut and she was bleeding. And he realizes they're safer without knowing me. Yeah. And so he takes the coffee.
God, there's Spider-Man.
Yeah. He takes the coffee and he leaves, and MJ's looking at him like, huh. And then that was the end of that. He's got an apartment.
He has a like a GED thing. So I'm guessing. I don't know if he quit high. I wonder if he quit high school. Someone knows Peter Parker, so I wonder if he quit high school to go get his like GED or something.
He may have.
I saw something for like GED, like a test book.
Yeah. But I want to point out also when he was opening his door, you heard his landlord be like, "You can make sure you pay your rent." I was like, "Oh, please be Mr. Dickovich."
I was waiting for a Dickovich, Cammy. I was about to lose it. If that happened, this movie.
Pay your rent. Where's my rent?
Where's my rent? Maybe they can. I mean, we didn't see the guy, so maybe.
That's true. This could be.
Maybe, I mean, J.K. Simmons can come back as. Make that one guy come back as Mr. Dickovich.
Yeah. So. But anyway, before this scene though, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the apartment thing. Let's explain that. He's got an apartment. Yeah. He's moving in all his boxes. He puts the Lego Emperor Palpatine thing.
He has that in a coffee cup.
And from Homecoming, with that Lego. and he's got a bunch of stuff he's putting out. Before this, he goes to a graveyard, and this scene got me. This got me a lot.
Oh yeah.
He goes to the graveyard, to Aunt May's grave, and he's sitting there, and then Happy walks up, and they're just sitting there looking at the grave, and then he goes, "How did you know her?" And he said, "Through Spider-Man." And he was like, "Yeah, me too." And I'm like, man, he doesn't remember him. And they have a thing. Yeah. He was like, "You take care." And he was like, "Yeah, you too." He walks away. I don't think we're going to see Happy again.
I mean, we're going to see Happy again.
I don't think we will.
Armor Wars.
His story. I mean, possibly, but I feel like his story is kind of done. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's done. I mean, we're going to see him in. We're going to see him in Armor Wars. I feel like.
Okay, I might be able to get behind that. But anyway, it was a very emotional scene. That's when he goes to his apartment after that. And he gets a call on a police radio about something.
Yeah. He has a police scanner.
Yeah. He's got a new suit.
Oh, my God.
Man, let me tell you, this suit looks so good. You can tell it took inspiration from both Toby and Andrew.
Yeah. Look at that symbol. I mean, this is...
He swings through Rockefeller Center, where the Hawkeye finale also took place.
Yeah.
But he swings through there. That means he was close to Kingpin. He was in the same area.
He was on the way to fight him. He was on his way to fight him.
I wish. But he's swinging through, and you see this awesome suit, and then the movie ends there. But let's see. He's got that awesome suit. He made it himself, I think. It looked like. But yeah, he's on his own. I guess college years are coming up, right? Let's see. I think we can probably get into that after credit scene. Had some more technical difficulties. Sorry, guys. Right at the end of the review.
Maybe we just had bad luck. Maybe. Even though it's on my end, but we got it. We got this.
Yeah. So the movie ends, and I mean, what a movie! First of all, I mean, I walked out of that and I was like, I want to watch it again. And when we get to the first of two post-credit scenes, one technically is not a post-credit scene, but I mean it is, but it's not.
Yes.
But the first one, we see Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy. And now, if you want to hear a review on Venom Let There Be Carnage, there's an episode of Extra Beef posted about that. But we see him, and he's drinking at a bar, and he's been transported to the MCU universe. And he's just sitting there talking. He's getting hit all this stuff. He's like, "Tell me the 10 men flying around. There's a purple alien. He likes stones."
Yeah, I don't like stones. I like people. This is crazy.
Yeah, he's just getting all this information. He was like, "Oh, you know what? I need to talk to that Spider-Man guy." That's what he said, and I was like, "Oh!" And then he gets transported back to his universe.
I was like, man, no.
Yeah, I was like, really? I watched Venom Let There Be Carnage for that.
Yeah, there's no reason to watch it now.
And then the camera pans down, and there's a little black thing on there. I thought it was a stone at first. I was like, "Was there a rock on this table?" And then it moved, and I was like, "Oh,
a little
piece of the symbiote left behind." Which, Lord knows what that will be doing in this next Spider-Man trilogy. I had talked about before we had the technical difficulties that I assume the next trilogy is the college trilogy.
Yes.
And he is an independent hero now. He is what Spider-Man is supposed to be.
Is. Yes. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I'm really happy.
Yes. And the second post-credit scene is the teaser trailer for Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, which we will review on the next week's episode of the show. But that wraps it up for explaining the movie. I'm not going to read any reviews and stuff because this has gone on a little bit long.
Yeah.
I think we get into some ratings now. So what would you rate Spider-Man No Way Home out of 10?
Well, obviously,
you want it to be a 10 out of 10. You expect it from you.
I want it to be. And it's not. It's not a perfect movie because like the first half is very rushed. Man,
but the rest of it
gets right. But like, if you can just excuse that one part, the movie's perfect. You know what I'm saying?
I got my rating.
Hit where it needed to hit.
I got my rating.
You got your rating. Here's
9.5 out of 10.
Ooh, but okay. Well, where do you put it on? I mean, for fan service, I mean, this is the best MCU movie.
That is true. I think this rivals Endgame.
It for fan service wise, if we're talking fan service, this movie does beat it.
Yeah,
beat it because I mean, this is
and story wise too, though.
Yes. Do I think Doctor Strange could beat this? Possibly.
I think it'll have a lot more cameos. So I think it'll be a lot more fan service, and I think we'll like it. So that could be a 10 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I mean it's Sam Raimi.
But I'm calling a 9.5.
So I'm going to say a 9.5 as well.
All right.
Because even if I excuse that first part, there's still a couple scenes I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I fully agree with that, but it's really good. Like where would you put this on? Like top three Spider-Man movies?
This is number one.
Oh my god, this is number one.
This is my number one. My number two is Into the Spider-Verse, and my number three is probably Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man
2. But this has made me want more Amazing Spider-Man movies. And there is a hashtag going for hashtag
make Amazing Spider-Man 3. Yes, and we're in full support of it.
Yes, we support that on the podcast.
This is a 9.5, and I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree with you. Just swap out 2 and Into the Spider-Verse, but it has everything.
You know what? I agree with that. Swap out 2 and Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. So Spider-Man 2 will be 2, and Into the Spider-Verse will be 3.
So this is like because it has everything everyone could ever like. Because I would say Defoe is better in this than he is in like
I agree.
He's more insane, and I love it. And Melina was great. Hey, I'd say I like his performance better than this, but it was still great to see him there and interact with it.
Everyone did great.
It's cool because everyone was better than what they were originally in.
Yeah.
I'd say the only 2 that don't really fully do it for me is probably Sandman and Doc Ock.
Lizard doesn't do it for me.
Great. Yeah, Lizard doesn't do it for you?
No.
But can you at least admit it's an improvement from the original? It is
an improvement. He talks. And I don't remember him talking the first one, but I might not pay attention.
He did talk, but it wasn't really much.
No, he talks a lot in this one. That's okay, you're right. I remember that.
Pack of pickled peppers. But like them doing Electro justice, perfect. Great. I love it. That did it for me. Goblin's better. Like everyone is better, and it's either better or just as good as the original.
Yeah, and we know that that Spider-Man 4 is in active development, according to Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal.
I mean, this movie made a $1.4 billion.
So I think Kingpin should be the big villain of the next trilogy. But I would want to be. Spider-Man gets one more live action appearance before his next movie. We do know that. They've already done something for that. But also we get Spider-Man freshman year next.
So I have a question, and I need to hear you on this.
Right, we need to kind of speed it up.
I'm guessing we can see the next Spider-Man movie in like 2 years, right?
Yeah, close to that. Yeah, 2-3 years.
So I'm wondering, do you think we will see Spider-Man in the Fantastic Four movie?
Maybe a cameo.
Considering John Watts, not like, obviously not a major role, but like an end credit scene, considering John Watts is directing it, and Spider-Man's first comic issue was with the Fantastic Four. So I was just wondering.
Well, then, probably most likely. There might be a cameo there.
Okay. Sorry. I wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick.
But, man.
Recommend
what a movie, man. Get your tickets. This is one of the best MCU movies.
Darren, you got to see this again.
I'm going to watch it again.
Multiple times. Yeah, this is a movie you got to see multiple times.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it. But that's all I got to say about this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fantastic. What a ride we've been on through the whole multiverse. We're saying now we're back, and
Yeah. I've taken Doctor Strange's sling ring.
Good.
I thought I'd wait till the end of the episode to tell you this. I'm going to use it. We're going to get back home to our universe.
Finally get out of here.
Finally finished exploring the Spider-Verse. It was very fun. All stories.
Very fun.
Some of them, most of them were great. A few of them were, oh man.
It's funny because like the two we're like, or is our like least favorite? We're going for a third one. Make 3.
Yeah, but No Way Home has that power.
Yes, that's how good it is.
So we're gonna head back to our home universe. Thank you guys so much for joining us through this series. It was a great journey. Wonder what's next.
Well, it's kind of, I'll be honest, it's kind of good not to talk about Spider-Man for a bit.
I'm almost Spider-Man out. I can't.
Spider-Man out. So yeah, but it was fun doing this with you, Darien.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we'll review all the Marvel movies one day.
No, God no. I refuse. Man.
Oh well, I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, corrections, or concerns, you can contact me on Instagram at DarienH4404. It's DARIENH 4404, or on Facebook at the Comic Book Burrito official page. Very interactive over there. Highly recommend it. Or also on Twitter at the CB Burrito, capital C, capital B, capital B, and Burrito.
Check out the banner on our Twitter, by the way. Pretty cool. I don't know what. I just want to call it out. Call it how it is.
Sure. Landon chose that banner, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, come on. Here. By the way, I do have pictures of me going to the premiere. I don't know if you've got pictures, Darien.
No.
But I will be posting those on Facebook and Twitter of me going to the premiere of No Way Home. And you can contact me as well at Spider_Landon on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Mm-hmm. But me and Darien both recommend you contact us both on Facebook and Twitter because me and him are both very interactive over there.
Yeah.
There, and Instagram is more of a notification type of deal. But if you want to do Instagram, you can do that as well.
Yeah. And Patreon is coming. It is on its way. I have to finalize a few things, get some ideas thrown around. But I did make the first post on there. But for some reason, no one is able to access our Patreon page. So I'm going to look into that.
Yes. You probably have to review it or something, but we will figure it out.
Yeah, but it's coming. I'll make the official announcement soon. And
we'll make an announcement. You can pay us.
But that being said, that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us again.
Yes, thank you for joining us in this adventure. We're going back to our home universe. And always remember, with great power comes great comic book burritos. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.